Welcome back to another episode of the Dynasty Dingers podcast. It is April 22nd. I am recording this on Monday. You will be hearing it on Tuesday. And this is a solo episode. Doc is on the road making a living and spending time with family. So, to give you a shorter episode today, I'm going to do a quick around the minor leagues, catch you up on some of the names and what they're doing. Probably leave out the names that we mentioned or really hit on last week. Give you a little different taste today. And then we're going to give you a little bit of a catch up as to what is going on scoutthestatline.com. We have released a few articles this week and we have started back up the player highlight section, which is a lot of fun. But first, let's break into news and notes. First on the list, devastating news for the Toronto Blue Jays and Ricky Tiedemann owners in Dynasty. Ricky sought an MRI this week and is going to be meeting with team doctors later this week. No news is broken on exactly what is wrong, but we can assume with an MRI, no information, now meeting with team doctors that this is not good. And this just wraps what has been a lengthy injury process and career so far for the young prospect, who has some of the best strikeout numbers in the game. But longevity as well as availability have been the issue for Ricky Tiedemann. Here we are, MRI, elbow, left elbow, pitching elbow, just not good. So we will have more information probably next week on that injury. But as of now, brace yourselves. Next up, and this is breaking as of tonight, Heston Kjerstad for the Baltimore Orioles is expected to receive a Tuesday promotion. Austin Hayes was put on the DL today, so it's very exciting. I am interested to see how much playing time he gets, but this is big. 10 home runs in the minor leagues. We've been talking about him for a number of weeks. We've been talking about him for a couple of years now. So Heston Kjerstad getting his call back to the major leagues. Frankie Montas and Wade Miley both hitting the IL in the NL Central for the Reds and Brewers, respectively. This is probably bigger for the Brewers because their depth is already lacking, right? And I think what this is really going to do is possibly accelerate the Carlos Rodriguez promotion train. Don't know that he's ready, but Robert Gazer still hurt. It looks like we could start to see Milwaukee dip into the minor leagues. For Frankie Montas, it was just a comebacker off his throwing arm, so expected to miss a start. Wade Miley's was elbow related, so that could be lengthier. That is the news and notes I have for you today. I'm going to jump right into around the minor leagues, starting off with Aiden Miller. 2 home runs so far to start the season. Young Miller, a first round pick, 27th overall by the Philadelphia Phillies. I think we're going to have a really fast rise here in Aiden Miller, and I have him highlighted this week because he will actually be on our player highlights on scoutthestatline.com in just a few days. So if you want to know our thoughts on Aiden Miller and kind of the profile to look forward to this season, definitely check that out. Next up is Cam Kyler for the Reds, another former first round pick. Didn't really have a great start to his career last year in 2023. Did have a really nice August, but the other months definitely held down the overall line. Coming out hot in 2024. So far has a 21% strikeout rate, 5% walk rate, 6 home runs, batting 328. It's a fantastic line, really starting to show some development, starting to show some overall maturing at the high A level, at the low A level. So I think we should see promotion from Cam this season. If he continues this stretch, I think we could probably see a double A finish to the year. And that would be really exciting for a red system that, again, I think is a little under respected because of all the promotions they've already had. But there's a lot of talent there, and Cam could really help even boost that higher. Next up on the list for the Toronto Blue Jays, this is a positive note coming off the Ricky Tiedemann news. Orlevis Martinez, 22 years old, shortstop, third baseman, kind of give or take. I think third is probably a better position for him as he continues to fill out. He does have 70 grade power via Scout the Stat Line. Him, Junior Caminero are two of the only few minor leaguers that have it. There is another name on that list. It's on Twitter if you are interested. So far has 8% walk rate, 22% strikeout rate, 6 home runs, batting 333. The power has been there. I really like the approach this year. The issue for Martinez in the past has been ultimately allowing the strikeouts to get the best of him, not taking walks, and then just not elevating. Those home run numbers, the power has been there, but consistency has been kind of a problem. So far, 8% walk to the 22% strikeout. I am totally okay with that. I think that is absolutely something that can play at the major league level. And I'm really excited to see where he goes from here. And I think the big takeaway I have is he may have just been a guy that was continuously aggressively promoted, never really allowed himself to get a good foundation. This might be the year where he's really starting to catch his breath and really perform well. Next name on the list is Everson Pereira. Prospect fatigue has been setting in, but so has his 36% strikeout rate. I think Pereira probably knows he's going to need a plethora of injuries or a trade to really see playing time at the major league level. We know he has big time power. The question mark is where would he play? So 36% strikeout rate does concern me to start the year. I would have to imagine he's selling out for a little bit of power, trying to really push himself either again for a trade or promotion. But with Jason Dominguez coming back this summer, it's going to be hard to see him in New York this year, maybe 2025 if he's not moved. Next name is a Colorado Rocky, Jordan Beck, coming in at 15% walk rate, 19% strikeout rate. Just fantastic. I think this is going to be a really nice floor player for a number of years. 5 home runs, batting 270 so far. We know Colorado's going to lift that average. It's going to lift that power just a little bit. But 15% to 19% K to walk is really nice for Jordan Beck. Again, a lot of outfielders in that Colorado system that I like. It's going to be interesting to see who shakes out, who actually ends up being starters in Colorado. Benny Montgomery, you have Yanquiel Fernandez, Jordan Beck, you have infield Sterling Thompson, outfield, Zach Veen. You got a lot of young kids, all of which could play outfield. So I think it'll be interesting, but I do think Beck's going to be a really nice foundational, safe floor piece. Next up is the opposite of safe foundational floor piece. That's going to be Carson Williams for the Tampa Bay Rays, a big time prospect. So, Matt, why is he on the list? Well, 3 home runs, 4 stolen bases, batting 392. Awesome. I kind of like where the strikeouts are at, though. 27% right now, which is a lot. But my big takeaway from Carson Williams was he's got to work on the strikeouts before I elevate him to an elite status of prospect. 27% isn't necessarily there yet, but it's in the right direction. That's 14 strikeouts and 51 at bats, 3 walks. So we still need to see the approach kind of stabilize, but power's there, speed's there, the average has been there against early sample size, but he's starting to answer some of the questions I really had, and I want to continue to see how that profile plays out. So that was Carson Williams for the Tampa Bay Rays. Next up is a Baltimore Oriole. Surprise, surprise. Creed Willems, 7% walk, 20% strikeout, 5 home runs, batting 326. This is a catching prospect. Could be first base, could be DH, probably all of the above. We will continue to monitor Creed all season. Creed jumped out, had a nice year last year, but we need to see more consistency and we need to see this continue to play as promotion starts. Next name on the list is going to be another player highlight coming later in the week on scoutthestatline.com. This is a Arizona Diamondback playing at high A. This is Gavin Conticello, formerly a 2021 eighth round pick. I want to say he was 226. Don't quote me. It is in the article. First base, third base profile, 13% walk to a 22% strikeout, 4 home runs, batting 340. Taller kid, 6'3", left-handed bat, gives me Bellinger vibes quite a bit. Was not very good in 21, 22, or 23. And I think something might be clicking. He's going to turn 21 in June. Again, playing at high A right now. I think this could be the year we really start to see him rise. When I look at what happened for him out of the draft, was this maybe a kid that shouldn't have gone pro? There were concerns coming off the circuit in high school that the hit tool just wasn't enough or it wasn't there. Again, signs an 8th-round pick. It takes a couple of years to really develop and start to see flashes, but here we are as he heads towards his 21st birthday, really putting on a nice show. That's Gavin Conticello for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Next name is a first-round pick from this past draft. It's Ralphy Velazquez, 18 years old, coming out of the Guardians organization, Huntington Beach High School in California. That is Huntington Beach. Velazquez is a guy I love. I know a lot of people that share industry thought with me have the same feelings for Ralphie. Big-bodied kid, really nice hit tool, nice raw power. We needed to see how that was going to really translate for a kid that's coming out of high school and coming out as a catching prospect. Well, Ralphie has 4 home runs, is batting 375, 12% walk to 22% strikeout. He looks like he is absolutely ready. So continue to monitor Ralphie, but that stock is going to continue to rise and rise and rise. Ralphie will be another player that we highlight on the player highlight on Scout the Stat Line later this season. So keep an eye for him. We're going to branch into the only pitcher on my list. That's Andrew Walters. So we're actually going to go with a relief pitcher, Cleveland Guardians organization. He was highlighted on our preseason podcast, Bats and Stats, as some of the underlying unknown guys to keep an eye on. Walters, second round pick out of Miami College. So far, 7 innings, 16 strikeouts, a 1.29 ERA. I believe Walters will be replacing Clase when he ultimately either gets traded or leaves via free agency. You don't take a reliever in the second round unless you really think this guy is going to be an impact to the organization. And I do. I mean, you watched his numbers at Miami. Look at the 7 innings that he's done so far this year. Everything to me says impact closer. Worst case scenario, you're looking at a guy that's going to rack up the saves for a number of seasons. He's an absolute must get for me. I have him in a number of leagues. I would encourage you right now, go out and try to acquire him if you can. Him, Landon Sims, 2 of the big time relievers I like a lot in the minor leagues. And Walter's name will continue to rise, especially as some of these podcasts talk about him. So definitely Andrew Walters target. We're going to talk about a few of the leaderboards, just quickly brush over them. Cade Povich still leading the minor leagues with 33 strikeouts in a total of, I am looking for it, 21 and 2/3 innings, dominant. We should see him sooner than later. We talked about him last week. I do think it's funny. Chase McDermott, another Baltimore Oriole pitching prospect, is third on the list at 28 strikeouts. So they have 1 and 3 on this list. Paul Skeens comes in right after McDermott. But Chase Dolander is a name I really wanted to highlight. 27 strikeouts, a 2.93 ERA for Dolander. Pitching really nice so far in 15 and a third innings. And I'm curious to see what happens. Obviously, being in the Colorado organization, we're not excited about him as a pitching prospect like we would have had he gone somewhere else. But if you're an owner of Dolander coming out of FYPD drafts, definitely recommend that you watch his numbers and you try and leverage these dominating outings, or at least the dominating start for 2024, and see if you can get some high value for him. Because again, he's a Colorado Rocky and there's only so much value there. Christian Scott, obviously, we talked about last week, 26 strikeouts, doing really well. Jack Leiter got the call this week. Was not a great start, but is on this list as well. So a number of players that we will continue to monitor. I am not going to bore you with a Drew Thorpe update because he's still just absolutely dominating. But let's wrap over to the Scout the Stat Line catch up. A couple articles you should be checking out or interested in reading. We have Doc's Sunday Smoke, so make sure you check out and support Doc Sunday Smoke. He's giving you his once a week update on where he's at with fantasy, where he's at with prospects. We have a Defying the Norm with Mike Bovey. Mike Bovey, Milwaukee Brewers organization, dominating as well this year. Was just recently promoted because he was playing just so well. That's definitely an article I would check out on the website. And then sliding over to the player highlights. Again, this is going to be back on the website. We just started it up last week. Last year, Ross was the main and I think one of the only contributors until the end of the season. This year, we have a number of names, myself, Doc included. We're going to be contributing to the player highlights for Scout the Stat Line. And our objective here is to give you a name a day, a small little blurb, what this player is going through, why they're named to focus on, what is the exact tool set that we like, and kind of trying to bring you some names that, maybe you're just going to see on Twitter, or maybe you're going to see here and there, but giving you a little more detail. And then there are going to be qualifying metrics too. So age to level, approach, popping data, stock, and track record. Those are things that we're going to use to either approve or take away from a player. So just for example, Joey Loperfido, age to level at 25, did not fall on those classifications approach. Even though he's striking out a lot, he's walking well and he's showing good progress. Eye popping data, the home runs at 10. Stock is obviously up because we're talking about him every week. And then track record, he has produced. This is not just an overnight breakout. So Joey Leperfido, only one he really didn't qualify for was H to level. Right now, we have a few other names on the website. So go over there, check it out. We were going to have a new one every day, as I had said. But that's all I have for you today. Short episode, about 15 minutes. Hopefully, you enjoyed it. Doc will be back next week. We're going to start getting some other Scout the Stat Line writers and content creators in on the show as we continue. And Doc and I are working on giving you a little bit of a breakdown on minor league environments, start to build a little bit better of an understanding on exactly what these hitters are doing, where they're doing it, and what does that mean for their numbers. So we're going to start rolling that out next week. Hopefully give ourselves some more information, give you some more information. But catch us next Tuesday on YouTube as well as all of your streaming platforms. And thank you.